Good afternoon, students. So today we will discuss about bearing material. So what is bearing? Bearings are designed to support moving parts such as shafts and spindles of a machine. You all must have come across the ball bearing of a bicycle or the bearing of a ceiling fan. So, these are the ball bearings, and another type of bearings are there which are known as plain bearings. But all the bearings are used to support moving parts. Due to relative motion between the two surfaces, the moving part and the bearing which come in contact with the moving part. So, between these two surfaces, due to the relative motion, friction arises, and a lubricant is used to reduce this friction. When a lubricant film cannot completely separate the moving parts of a bearing, friction and wear increase. The resulting frictional heat combined with high pressure promotes localized welding of the two rubbing surfaces. So, due to this welding of two surfaces, metal is pulled from one or both surfaces and decreases life of the bearing. Compatibility of bearing materials and absorption of lubricant upon the bearing surface is necessary to reduce metallic contact and extend bearing life. So, these bearings may be classified as rolling contact bearing, that is ball or roller bearing. Another type is plain bearing. Rolling contact bearings are made up of steel which are hardened after machining. For making plain bearing, many types of bearing materials are listed below. Lead or tin based alloys, cadmium based alloys, aluminum based alloys, silver based alloys, copper based alloys, sintered bearing material, and non-metallic bearing material. So, plain bearing materials are classified into these 7 types. Out of these 7 types, composition, properties and uses of following bearing material will be discussed. Copper based alloy, tin based alloy, lead based alloy and cadmium based alloys. Before discussing the properties, composition and uses of specific bearing, we will discuss about the general properties of bearing material. A bearing metal should possess the following important properties. It should have enough compressive and fatigue strength to possess adequate load carrying capacity. It should have adequate plasticity under bearing load. It should have good wear resistance to maintain a specified fit. It should have low coefficient of friction to avoid excessive heating. The material should bear vibrations and shocks. It should have high thermal conductivity so as to take away the heat produced due to friction between two moving parts. It should have the properties to form a continuous thin film of lubricant between the shaft and bearing to avoid direct contact between two rotating surfaces. It should possess resistance to corrosion, anti-seizure characteristics. It must be cheap and easily fabricated, must possess ability to embed in itself any dirt present in lubricating oil. So now we will discuss about the composition, properties and uses of different type of bearing material. First one is tin based babbitt. Composition: tin 85%, antimony 10%, copper 5%. So along with the general properties, it has these special properties: have low coefficient of friction, good ability to embed dirt, good corrosion resistance, good seizure resistance. And this material is used in high speed engines, steam and gas turbines, electric motor blower pumps, etc. Next is lead based babbitt. Composition: lead 80%, antimony 12%, tin 8%. Properties: these are softer and brittle than tin base alloys, but these are cheaper than tin base alloys. Good ability to embed dirt, good corrosion resistance, good seizure resistance. Only problem is this is more soft and brittle than tin base alloys, but it is used in railway wagon bearing because of all other properties, and it is cheaper than tin base alloys. Next is cadmium based alloy. It is very costly. Composition is cadmium 95%, silver 5%, and very small amount of iridium. Properties: low coefficient of friction, high fatigue strength, high load carrying capacity. Uses: suitable for medium loaded bearing subject to high temperature, used in automobile and aircraft industries. In spite of its high cost, it is used in these areas as it can have the property to carry load at very high temperature. Other properties are low wear, good seizure resistance, fair ability to embed dirt, poor corrosion resistance using ordinary lubricant. For this, cadmium based alloys are used in aircraft, preparation of aircrafts. Next is copper based. So this is a porous sintered bronze bearing. Sintered bearings are self-lubricating bearing. Here no lubricant is required. So composition is copper powder 90%. So this is a sintered bearing. So for sintering is a powder metallurgy process where copper powder is used. So here copper powder is 90%, tin 8 to 10%, and a small amount of graphite, that is 1 to 3%. So properties: as it is already known as sintered bronze bearing, so it is a self-lubricating bearing. So the property is self-lubricating, resistance to corrosion. So these bearings are suitable for light and medium loads used in refrigerator, air conditioner, washing machine, and the areas where lubricant should not come in contact. As this is a self-lubricating bearing, here we are not using lubricant. So in these areas where there is a danger of using lubricants, the self-lubricating bearings are used. So this is all about your bearing material.